inaugural stream for Karandrin role playing, which is a system and world that I've been working on for about 30 years. Today, we have with us the beginning of Ganri's tale, and the player is Joshua Waters.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're joining us. As Kevin just said, my name is Joshua Waters. I'm playing a young dwarven spellcaster by the name of Ganri Birch. Fresh into my adventuring career. I think I'm a little under a month. What am I at here? Yeah, about 21 days in. And already had some pretty fun adventures. I think you guys are going to really enjoy the world that Kevin has built and the way in which he presents it to his players. And if you have half as much fun as his players do, then we'll see you again.
That's very kind of you. So you notice that Josh said he was 21 days into his adventures, and that will give you a clue that this is somewhat different than the more episodic role playing that most of you are familiar with. And so I'm going to give you just a brief word about that, and then we're going to get a summary from Josh about where we are, and we're going to just start playing. So, in my style of role playing, it is a fantasy world, but it is not episodic in the sense of you're dropped into an adventure and you explore it until you're done, and then the adventure ends. You live day by day here. You find your own adventures, you make your own contacts, you choose which leads to follow, which leads to abandon. You may see that Ganri decides that this area is too tough, for instance, or that it's just not interesting enough, and he will simply leave a set of ruins. And that's fine. That's all taken into account by my system. It is sandbox, truly sandbox, and that he can go anywhere at any time that he wishes. The only difference here is his only restraint, I should say, is um, that he has a set personality that I roll randomly for any character in the game, and he can do anything he wants so long as it is not against the personality of his character. As a dwarf, for instance, Ganri is not very trusting, so for him to suddenly become trusting of someone just because there might be a great deal of gain involved won't be allowed, and then I have to punish him. But so that's how the game works. It is a completely organic world. Um, the other aspect of this I want to stress is that this is more of a world than it is a game. And by that I mean that the fact that you find a locked door doesn't mean there's necessarily a way to open it. The fact that there's a dragon nearby doesn't mean it's there for you to go and talk to. The way to stay alive in Karandrin is don't be an idiot. This is a world that dragon was there because dragons are in Karandrin, not because the game master put it there for you to have a nice chat with. Um, but enough about that. You will see and learn more as we play. And so we've been playing for a number of years with this character on and off, on and off, so on and off. But so Josh is going to give us just a brief is going to give us a brief overview of where he is right now and what he's up to in the moment. And take it away, Josh.
Sure. So Ganri was born and raised in a country called Garamore. It is primarily a dwarven country, although you'll find many races there, and it's on the coast. Um, and he is adventuring in the area where he was born and raised. Haven't really struck out too far from home yet. I got into adventuring despite the fact I was raised as a shepherd, essentially, because a band of adventurers hiding from a very powerful and mysterious villain known as the Glass Minister, who have done a great deal of damage to this band of adventurers. They had moved into a farm next to us to hide from this villain, and I became friendly with them over many years. And there was a dwarven magic user among them, and he sort of opened my eyes to the wide world of magic and the mystery and intrigue of spellcasting. And I listened to their stories and just became inspired and really wanted to get out there and find treasures of my own and really interact with the mystical, magical beasts that you would hear about in the occasional story that were just too fantastic to believe. But I wanted to see that for myself. So, as Kevin mentioned, I am playing a dwarf, and dwarves do have certain um, characteristics. I do want to say that he is very careful not to um, do the all dwarves are X trope. You do have a very unique and specifically crafted personality. He puts a lot of work into the background development of your character, and that is a thing that pays off to sort of refresh yourself before every session, just to look through and look at what your personality is. As a for instance, um, I have a line in my personality section that says, in true dwarven fashion, I'm a little wary of new customs and people. However, I also enjoy being in big cities and sort of people watching and interacting um, in a dwarven way, in a reserved way, interacting with all of the people milling about. Um, and I have certain preferences based on my personality. So, for example, I think potions and scrolls are fascinating and very very practically useful. But I don't care a whole lot about money. I mean, I know it's useful, but I don't really care about accruing it. So I don't have that sort of traditional dwarven greed, as it were. Although gems, I do find to be, uh, something maybe worth hanging on to. At any rate, adventure-wise, I am currently um, one day away, basically, from a meeting with a noble family in the uh, city of Galandos, which is a large port city in Garamore. And this is most likely going to lead to a very good employment opportunity for me. Um, as an adventurer, I have to be careful. Many um, people in the world um, want nothing to do with um, anything but the mundane. They have lives to live. They have to grow food and feed families and uphold traditions and magic and uh, swordplay and dragons. Those aren't part of that world.
And
And
Josh, it's Lady Balabri? Is that who you're meeting with?
I am going to believe that's correct. One second. I will do this quite often as we play, which is refer to my notes, because as you will soon see, there's a lot of detail. I am meeting with. Oh, I should have done it in one note instead of word because that's easier to get to. And let's go here. To-do list.
It's the young, well-meaning one, right?
Yes. So today is March 21st. So March 22nd is the planned meeting in the morning with Lady Balabri and her father and their advisor. Currently, I am meeting with someone else that's sort of in the higher ranks of the social scene in Garamore. Um, I shouldn't say Garamore. I should have said the city. Wait, it is Garamore, right?
The within the nation is Garamore. The city is Galandos.
Galandos, thank you. So in Galandos, I am currently meeting with a priest to the upper echelon of society here by the name of Breziard. And I had been attempting to track down some information on a demonic entity known as the Night Taker. I had met some survivors who had been rescued by some adventurers and had sort of come across it separately in my own adventuring. Um, and I understood that to be something quite dangerous, and recently it's been driven home far beyond my ability to really do anything about. But I have been attempting to track down some information and hopefully secure at least a location for this thing. And if there were any of our people there, maybe we could rescue them. That's not going to bear fruit as a path for adventure for Ganri because Ganri and me as his player have both realized that's just that's well beyond. Although I have some pretty powerful magic and some really interesting items, and am beginning to sort of get a foothold in the adventuring world. That's it's a demon. It's just too much for me. Probably too much for 10 of me.
Oh
Um,
man, I just saw. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just saw that we had a hello from a guy named Jeremy Samples from Minnesota, part-time sanitation worker. Hello, Jeremy. Welcome to the. I'm kidding, guys. Jeremy is an old friend, a dear friend, and it does make me laugh to bust his chops.
that's
Hi, Jeremy. I look forward to seeing you again, and maybe you can start playing and streaming with us
yeah.
all over us.
Uh,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
don't
Josh. You're
don't cross the
talking
streams.
about your inability, how you're just too weak
Hmm.
to be useful, as I recall. That's what you're really saying?
Yeah, that was it. No, actually, despite the fact you do tend to start off as a first level character, usually pretty young. My character, for example, is 18, which for a dwarf is very young. Um, I have already traveled to another plane, following sort of a weird woolly giraffe sort of thing that the dwarves find to be. I'm not going to say a holy creature, but there is a certain amount of awe and
Sacred.
respect.
Yeah, I mean they're sacred. They're seen as
Yeah.
a good omen.
Yeah.
Um, Sort of almost like a Clydesdale of a hairy Clydesdale, a woolly Clydesdale of a giraffe. That's how I envision the Shag Towers.
That was a fascinating trip. I brought back a denizen of that world plane, and that's the other thing is limited knowledge for the character, absolutely, but for the player to a certain extent. You um, would do well not to bring in any expectation of metagaming while you're playing. Um, so yeah, Ganri has found a super powerful uh, artifact that he was able to um, bring to a noble family and ultimately to a royal family. And in exchange, he won for his family um, uh, a deed of land and a relationship with the nobility that really has set his family for generations. And for himself, a good deal of adventuring gear, which was quite useful. I have also had some negative experiences in an interaction with a thief. I may have acted a bit rashly
May
and
have, may have.
possibly, I'm not going to say this is my fault necessarily, but there was an incident with a magic wand and a bag of holding and a firebolt and an incinerated thief and an explosion and several destroyed buildings and like maybe a dozen dead civilians. All of this, of course, to Ganri, who is a young, well meaning, good natured, essentially, dwarf, threw him into a terrible bout of guilt and despair. And this all happened right before I was supposed to have this meeting with nobility to get my family and this relationship between them. My character is honest, and I could not come forward and confess this was my fault. And another, I'm going to say innocent of this act at least, another innocent was found and hung for the crime. So Ganri is really in a bad place emotionally right now. He's really looking to sort of atone for what he views as his sins. Um, and so he's looking to try to take jobs or do deeds that um, will maybe clean up that ledger or at least balance it a bit for him, since you just can't undo the dead. Um, at any rate, that is where we're headed now. I have this meeting set for tomorrow, and I'm hoping that will lead to some great adventure hooks. And that's as a player, obviously, as my character. Ganri is still, um, young and impressionable, and he cares very much about his family and their reputation. And so he's trying to walk this tightrope between adventure and the real world, where he cannot bring shame to the nobility or the royalty, and he must protect his family. At the same time, he's going to be interacting with adventurers and magic and artifacts and a full bestiary. So it's an interesting uh, dichotomy there.
And so
Uh,
at the moment, where did we leave off? Were you still discussing?
I was headed with Breziard back to the temple. I was hoping to gain access to the library. There had been some discussion of possibly setting up a recurring donation for constant or repeated access, sort of a subscription model of sorts. Um,
Subscription model.
at least getting that relationship there where it's, a place where, okay, I know I could go and see, maybe what they have, at least in scrolls and text and that sort of thing regarding whatever I may be working on. Um, and also hopefully establishing a relationship where they could give me jobs that over time, a period of months or years, I could earn their trust, and that might lead to some other opportunities for Ganri.
All right. Well, so let's get to it, shall we? Thank you guys for watching, and we're actually going to start. Enough of the intro. No idea how long that took, but no doubt too long probably. Let me call up Breziard real quick. Um, One of the more curious aspects of my role playing gang is that I actually use a database of NPCs, and it has in there a list of personalities. Sorry, they have personalities themselves, each of the NPCs, and it gets rolled up randomly with some modification based on income and and race and things like that. Um, um, so Breziard is an older male dwarf, handsome, tall, heavy set, shoulder length red hair that's graying, a close cropped beard, dark blue eyes. Um, um, and as Josh mentioned, the societies here consider adventurers to be just really out of their minds. There's no reason to put yourself in harm. They know that you can die of disease and so on very easily. Why would you go and seek out the strange, the unusual, and the dangerous? Breziard is an exception. Being in a temple, they occasionally have to deal with the dangerous. They, of course, have paladins and things like this to help them deal with threats, real or not, whether they're just really threats to the temple's income or actually evil. I doubt they really care. But so you guys are walking back from lunch through the streets. This is in an upscale part of town, the town again of the city, really, of Galandos. Um, um, you guys reach the temple. This is the temple of Ulshan, right? Which is the king of the dwarven gods and sort of founder of the dwarven people, at least as this group of dwarves view it. And you guys enter the courtyard. How curious is this guy? Um, and he asks as because you guys sort of walk in silence. He asks, do you think then that there is any chance that you would even venture to the island to scout, perhaps for this demon that's taking the children, or is it best left untouched?
It is probably best left untouched, but I do have a strong desire to travel there.
You must proceed with caution. I told you the demon is powerful, and if there are minions about under its service, the island may be well watched.
Good call.
That's a common dwarven expression, everyone. Good call. That's you hear it a lot. Yeah, you see it a lot in text. The dwarves get it a lot in text. You see it
Hmm.
online
Yes.
with
Yes.
their cable subscriptions. So so you guys go upstairs to the more highfalutin, the more privileged access of libraries. Remind me what information was this for you to seek out more about the Night Taker, or were there other topics you wanted to look at?
Well, there had been two I was discussing with Rosiard. So initially, a couple of days ago, we had uh, had the first conversation about the Night Taker, and he had said, "Hey, come find me in a couple of days, and I'll see what I can find for you." Of course, I'd already stopped by the other temple that was closer um, to the noble's house and had a conversation. Hello, Kelly. um, had a conversation with that priest who was a little less I won't say informed, but she didn't seem to be as comfortable with the adventurers maybe as Bresiard, in some regard. Um, and someone has a question.
That's a keep talking. I'll handle it while I'm
Ah,
listening to your
okay.
answer.
Um, so with Bresiard, the two topics of conversation were obviously the Night Taker, but also this more recent event where an adventurer found me at the Adventurers Guild and had requested that I steal a powerful and obviously evil magic item from another temple.
Right,
And so I sought Breziard's advice on
right,
this because this has the non ominous name of the necklace of the Black Servant. This particular necklace was actually called the Bane of Tempra, and it was one of a series of necklaces of the Black Servants. And so I sought Breziard's advice there, and we worked out. I think that obviously I'm not going to
go
steal
steal
this
it.
necklace,
Oh,
and
that's right.
he and
Breziard was going to send a message, right?
yeah, he was going to talk to this other temple. It was a temple for the Abathonians, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
and
sorry. From the nation of men to the south, which
yeah,
this would be the nation called the Manish Alliance.
okay, that's correct. Manish Alliance. Abathonians are the Northmen.
Right.
Yeah. Um, yes, let's do it again. You'll be double famous, Kelly Manus. And um, yeah, so we decided that this guy should not have the necklace. And point of fact, if the temple was worth its salt, they'd already destroyed this item, given its incredibly evil and powerful nature. But he was going to sort of verify that. And
Right.
so I will, tell this guy it's a no go the next time I run across him
Right.
at the guild, which is the Three Torches. Uh,
Roll for me.
and just for the people watching, I do like to roll physical dice, but with the setup of the way things are, it makes it a lot easier just to use an app to roll the dice on the phone. Plus, you can always show what you've rolled. This is not my roll; that was what pulled up when I did it. So let's give us
Peter.
here. Um, Magenta. Okay. All right, we got a 36 on that roll.
36. So it dawns on you sort of as you're walking back and you're sort of processing the conversation, and you guys are now going up into the temple. It dawns on you that that guy who offered you the advice, right, at a cost about the Night Taker, um, um, he could have at least warned you that the creature was extremely dangerous, and he didn't. Um, and so it's
Hey, Jenny and Charlie.
hey Jenny. Uh, so um, so this guy, your first feeling as a dwarf, of course, is that bastard.
Right.
He really was just going to let you. hanging dry. He wasn't even going to give you a basic warning um, it's extremely dangerous to even go. You know, and so now you've certainly darkened your image of that guy, um, because it does seem like he was very cutthroat. Um, so um, so as you guys enter the temple, as enter the library, obviously people are just nodding to Breziard. He's your pass, your behind the scenes pass into the bowels of the temple. You pass through these, heavy oak doors that swing open silently, and there is a very nice library. Although, lots of the books are dust choked and so on, but it's large. There's attendees, there's only a couple of guards, and there are a few acolytes walking by. All of them, I mean, 90% of them dwarven, although we know that this area does have a smattering of men and elves as well. Um, as you get a little distance from people, Breziard, sort of pulls you, checks your progress a bit and leans in and says, even though this is very specialized specialized library here, it's still best to keep quiet about any research on demons, lest you attract more questions than you have time to answer. So
Understood.
um, just keep that in mind. Um, so um, he says, obviously the acolytes will take you to any section you want. They have been taught to be discreet. So you may be open about your researches with them. You may mention my name if you see doubt cross their face. In the meantime, I will try to secure you get a sense of a figure that might a donation to the temple that might grant you regular access here. So
And I know you, and I prefer to do business with you. But if it should come that you weren't here and I wanted access and we had reached an arrangement, is there anyone I should ask for?
you will be given a token of entry to um, um, this library in particular. You can show it to anyone. They'll know which temple the symbol, which library the symbol refers to, and they can escort you there. It will grant you access. And then the attendant there at the door, I'm pointing as though it exists, but why not? Um, will allow you entry. They'll have your name in a record and can see that your membership has not expired. So I'm going to go secure you a reasonable donation. Is there a number that you're hoping for?
So right now, if I'm not mistaken, I'm asking this question as the player, not the character.
You're
Uh,
asking me, not Breziard.
yeah, I am paying 1 gold a month for the Adventurers Guild, or is it 1 gold a year? What am I doing there?
Uh,
I
I'm
think
sure.
1 gold got me.
I'm sure it's 1 gold a month.
Okay. Um, okay. So I feel like this is probably.
You doing the math here?
Well, I'm just trying to think like what other types of interactions I've had that would give me a sense. This seems like a reasonable thing. And obviously, this is a temple seems to serve a more upscale community. So, am I thinking maybe 5 gold a month wouldn't be an insult?
I mean, that's a good question. Roll for me.
Let's see. Sorry, I had the app up there. 65.
Um, um, your thought is that Breziard has enough tact to let you know if that would be enough.
Okay. Then I'll proceed as No insult meant here, because this world is unfamiliar to me. But 5 gold a month be in the ballpark.
He stabs you.
Because
I'm kidding.
dwarves play baseball. Everyone knows. They
The
make
ball.
sports references constantly. Constantly. Okay? So,
um, so uh, he says, perhaps twice that, my friend, and
very
you
well.
stab him. It's you know,
Wait, what now?
you stab him after he quotes you such an enormous amount.
I got you. I got you. I clutch at my pearls as he says that. So,
Inside of a temple,
someone's telling us there's a good half-second lag between audio and video.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, it does because I'm.
Unfortunately, there's not much we can do about that. I do hate that, but thank you for telling us about the lag. We'll see how it is. This is going to be recorded as well. You can watch this later on YouTube and Twitch. And so we may just have to, oh man. That Max was do you remember Max, my buddy Max? You've met him a couple of times. I've never liked him, to be honest with you. Um, um, so
More of a min for you? Is that
I don't think anybody would consider him a man. Um, but um, so we'll just have to play around with settings probably next time. Although I'll check while we're on board. I think somebody's character is going to have some problems tomorrow night. I'm not going to say any names, Maximus. But yes, and tomorrow, of course, we'll be streaming with my good buddy Max. He's playing the character Brees, and so hopefully these two stories, Brees's tale and Ganri's tale, will be our long term streaming and two stories. And if with any luck, we might get my friend Jeremy to start role playing again, just maybe.
Kevin just wants to expose as many people as he can to other people's tales. That is the point of this entire.
I
Also, Kelly had a nice observation there. That's true, Kelly. That is true.
About her hot dog.
Now I was going past that a little bit. That
Oh,
you
I
really
see. That's
don't like
true.
most people.
That
That's
is true. Most people do annoy the cat piss out of me. Not gonna lie to you. Some people annoy me to the max, though, and those are the worst. Um, so, um,
so 10 gold a month, and we should say real quick. I don't know if we have to explain this, but the monetary system in Kevin's world is actually fairly straightforward, and it's pretty useful because money can get tricky and confusing, even in the modern world, especially when you're dealing with multiple cultures, let alone races and all the other stuff that may be going on in a fantasy world. Um, but um, I want to go to my money thing up here real quick. The primary units that you'll deal with are copper, bronze, silver, gold, and mithril.
yeah,
And it's a scale that bumps up by 10 until you get to mithril, because one mithril is 100 gold. But before that, you would have a bronze is 10 copper, a silver is 10 bronze, a gold is 10 silver. And then when you get up to mithril, that's the big one. Um,
right. And this is based on Rollmaster Second Edition, which itself drew heavily from Tolkien, and so that's why you see Mithril in it. And so mine's a modified version of Rollmaster Second Edition. Although we're going to be posting character sheets and that sort of thing in later streams, and so the um, so you'll be able to see that there's not a lot of numbers in my system that the players have access to. Um, so, um, but but that's because I want them to play as people, not as robots. Um, but so
Oh, that makes more sense to me now. I did not know who Pooch Hugger and Keeper were. Thank you, Kelly. And hey, girls.
I've never liked either one of my nieces. But the so
So actually, before he goes, then
yeah,
I'd like to, discreetly hand him a mithril and say, if
he
that
just
number
says
holds
thanks and
true,
runs off. He's like, "Thank you, sucker. Peace out." That's
I would like to go ahead and um, secure some time for myself. Um,
um no.
you've been doxxed, Keeper. Deal with it.
Remind me, was Breziard had attempted to get the temple interested in taking action against the Night Taker demon
Yes.
before, but they
Yes.
found the tale just to be ridiculous.
Correct. So
Uh,
this had been on his radar previously, and then I came to him with it, and he was like, "Hmm." But I think his deal with it this go around was, you know, I mean, realistically, what kind of position are you in to do anything about it? You know,
right, right. And he said he was going to continue to press his superiors to take an interest in it.
right?
Um,
And so I wouldn't mind, even if I know I'm not going to take any direct action at all, you know, in between things, if I have a chance, since I know a boat captain and all that sort of stuff, if I can just take a look around, see if I see anything. Um, I still wouldn't mind sort of having that on my radar.
sure,
Even if, I know, okay, I got to steer clear completely of this thing because it's way out of my league.
right, right. Um, so off he goes with your mithril, and he heads immediately to eBay. The um, there's passing acolytes if you want to pull someone aside and begin perusing. And
I would. Hold on, let me change my inventory of money. A mithril's kind of a big one to
I'm gonna drink some dwarven coke. Excuse
be
me.
wrong on. Okay. Um, yeah, let's. Actually, I would like to pull an acolyte aside and just. How does this normally work? Does a dwarf ask for what he wants and you fetch it, or are things located in sections?
It's an older female dwarf. Um, she leans in and says, "Your best luck is to trust the acolytes, my dear, and tipping is always welcome." Brazen, brazen whore.
And Breziard mentioned that the acolytes in this area would not be as uh,
They're discreet, so they know that people have to come in here and research untoward things, and so they're not going to be blabbing to anyone um, about what you're looking up. But Breziard's advice to you is, hey, maybe keep the title of your book face down, you know, just so that other viewers aren't concerned and tattle on you to. Um,
gotcha. Now I did. Oh my gosh, this I just thought of this.
Set fire to the place.
No, no, no. The entity that they are fighting on Kyler Vane had Vor in the name, right?
Yes. Shoot. Good Lord, I made that thing up years ago. Yes. What about the multi-tentacled dimensional invader?
Yeah. And
And
then the traveler from our plane that was over there fighting it. Um,
yes,
what was
I know.
his name? Hold on. Hold on. I have to jump back to way earlier in the notes. Oh, sorry. That's actually in the physical notes. Uh, I apologize. Most of my notes are digital. The last, you know, 10 play days worth of notes at least, but a bunch of my older notes are in, binders and clipboards and whatnot.
Whatnot.
Yeah. Um, okay, there we go. Later to Kyler Vane.
I just typed a caption into the text, and now everyone into the chat. So people are laughing at me now. I'm sure, bastards.
Multi-tentacled what now? Oh, I see. Oh, you're when it says restream, that's you.
I guess so. You think it would be? I don't know
Yeah,
how it shows up on the
yep.
thing.
That's curious. Is anybody coming from the Twitch angle? Is everybody here on YouTube?
There's some people coming from Twitch. I can tell. I think Max is on Twitch. So everyone, let me know how my texts show up. Like, how am I identified when I post?
Hey, the Night Taker just doesn't sound gay. He also smells gay.
That's right.
Um,
That is where that was supposed to appear.
okay. Should be right there. Okay, so it's Dromavore is the creature.
There you go.
Dromavvorr. Um,
Hey Max, how do my responses, how are they identified? Do they say restream or do they say something else?
okay, Kevin, I don't know if you have this in your database yet.
Yeah.
Check Malvis. I think that's right. My handwriting's very sloppy here. I think it's Malvis.
Okay. And that's the
The most recent visitor.
into the world. Right.
Right. They
Right.
said they've had
Josh.
24 visitors over the past 300 years, and this is the most recent, and he appeared to be from my world. Right.
Right. Right. So right. So you may remember that Josh mentioned that he had traveled through a portal into a world that whose denizens call it Kyler Vane. And they were aware of our world, and because other visitors had fallen through portals, traveled there deliberately or whatever. And one such traveler is a very powerful magician, wizard, spellcaster named Malvis, and who had made it his life's work to try to contain this enormous threat um, called the Dromivore, which appears simply as a portal opening and a tentacle reaching out and thrashing. And then more and more portals simply open over the course of time until eventually the entire dimension, the entire world, is nothing but portals and thrashing tentacles. And in Kyler Vane, it had already destroyed an entire nation. The nation was, had to be abandoned. Essentially, it was essentially a massive refugee problem.
So I want to check. Hey, Kevin, I just sent a text. Okay, cool. There it goes. Kelly had asked me to type something so it shows what my chat is. but I can't use the chat feature in Restream, so I have to go through Twitch or YouTube. So I just logged into Twitch real quick,
Yeah.
and so because I'm logged in on my, uh, you know, not my personal account, my account I made just for streaming.
Yeah.
That's the way it's showing up. So Anchor's Away Games.
Okay.
So let me throw out to this acolyte then 3 concepts of something I'm looking for, and those concepts will be the Dromivore, the gosh dang it, what was that creature they called the one you could get answers from, but it was very costly?
Oh, the wise briar.
The Wise Briar, and then I got some other names for that when I was talking to the adventurer, so I'll
Yeah.
kind of put those concepts to her.
Yes.
And Malvis, or someone, sort of. I don't know. Malvis might be too specific though. That's a
And the odds
person.
that there's any reference to him in a book. I mean, if he's a
Yeah.
living being, this is not like.
How about traveling generally? People who have gone other places and come. You know what I mean? Like
Wait, haven't you gone other places? Weren't you just at a restaurant?
I. That was before. That was.
You're amazing.
I'm a time traveler
You.
and a land stander.
That's right.
Um,
I'm a time traveler. Just a minute ago was just a minute ago. Now I'm here.
this is a picture of me from the past.
Mitch Hedberg, man, funniest people ever to grace the stage. Um, yeah, I can see you as anchors away, Josh.
In the chat.
Yeah, I'm blocking you.
Fantastic. Oh, while I'm doing that,
So
Kelly says it's not showing anything on my end. Oh, wait, because she's seeing the YouTube chat.
right, she's on the YouTube chat. So,
Okay, wait, real quick then. So let me just so I
but
can
I
check
think
that
it
here.
answers our question that we're. So, for instance, Kelly sees me as Karandrin RPG, but you appear as Anchors Away Games on Twitch, so you'll appear as whatever your username is on, or I should say, like if you have a channel or whatever, probably your username is what you'll show up there.
Hold on one second. I'm
But
trying
while
to
you play with
search.
that, I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna tell the audience about the Wise Briar. So there was in Kyler Vane, there was legend of, and almost more than a legend in the sense of the certainty of its existence, a creature called the Wise Briar, which is this tangled mass of thorny vines that would sort of form into a mouth and talk to visitors. And the belief is that it simply knows everything. And you can ask it any question you want, but it extracts a price by wrapping you in thorns. And you don't know how much blood it's going to drink from you for the answer. And there are many legends in which, of course, the foolish ask a question and they get drained of their life. But there are other legends in which it takes only a modest amount of blood and lets the person go. And so that's what the Wise Briar was. When Ganri, Josh's character, was trapped in Kyler Vane, because he passed through a portal created by these shag towers, who apparently pass just at will between the two realms. He considered seeking out a Wise Briar to find a way home. So,
And Max is saying no lag.
yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
Okay, good deal. All right.
So anyway, so that's what the Wise Briar is, and so are you curious? Do you have a question you want to pose for it, Mr. Ganri? Is that your thought, or is it just you're very curious about it and just want to get general information on it? I guess what I'm asking is you don't have immediate plans for it.
Oh, no. It's just, I kind of already, I mean, Breziard is going to be as or more knowledgeable than me. He brought more information to our meeting we just had about the Night Taker, right?
Right.
I had some nuggets, but he had way more than I had. So, and we already kind of know where that is. I was just thinking about, oh, hey, these are other things I've bumped across. I wonder if anybody else has anything on it. Also,
Right.
I don't want to come out the gates at this dwarven temple with that weird dwarven cult that I definitely am going to be seeking more information on at some point.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm not going to start with that here. I'm going to maybe try to get in people's good graces before I say, oh, by the by, I came across this. And
Right.
yeah, because
Right.
Breziard was one of the ones who was very much like, stay away, right? This is heresy. So eventually I would like to see if they have anything on that. But,
Right.
for
That's
starters, I just thought I'd go across stuff I've come across thus far that seemed
well,
interesting.
yeah, and it's safer to be seen reading about.
Yeah.
I mean, in all likelihood, because that cult would be considered heretical, and certainly your reading of the cult's letters suggested that it ended very abruptly. It was probably ended violently.
Yeah.
This library is probably purged of mention of it.
May
Um,
well be.
yeah, I mean
May well be.
that's something to consider. And so,
But it's possible too that that could be other adventuring sites or exploration sites, given what I
oh,
found in the first
oh,
one.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Um, you could go there and dance with their misery. Uh, um, but the cult we're referring to, gang, is a cult that not a cult. You really call it a sect because in fantasy role playing, cult would technically be the correct word, but in fantasy role playing, it's such a loaded word. People immediately think evil and so on. But it was a minority faith that put the queen of the gods above the king and had their own version of some of the creation myths and some of the stories, and that was considered heretical. Josh found a hidden sanctuary to these. I should say Ganri found. Josh couldn't find his ass with both hands, but um, so Josh found a sanctuary where this group of worshipers had met some 70 years ago or so, if the letters were correct, and they seem to suddenly and violently cease to exist. And so Josh is curious about Ganri is curious about what happened to these people and so on.
So if I'm curious and Ganner's curious, is that there's two? So that's bi curious.
Your joke is trying. Um,
Don't make me start Mandalorian puns
oh
because
my god,
that's
we'll do it. We'll do it. That's all. Yeah, we'll do a separate stream of you and me just doing Mandalorian puns.
wait. Who is keeper of gay? Because why not?
I think that is my dear friend Rachel, who went and logged on to a different thing, and so
Yeah, that's coming from Twitch. It looks like. I was just
yeah,
curious.
they only allow twitchy people on there. So, um, but anyway, so what's your first? You want to ask about Wisebriar first? Is that your first thing for the acolyte?
Um, Actually, I was thinking about maybe the Dromivore first,
Okay,
because if there's any mention here, that would be interesting, right? Like, else I'd obviously never heard of it. Not that I would have heard of it, but
right.
yes, the Night Snatcher would be a better name. But unfortunately, it was already trademarked.
uh, yeah, man, so many places to go with that. I just can't even resist. Let's assume that Jeremy had it trademarked. Let's just go there. Let's just assume that anyway.
But
But
surprisingly, in Karandrin, Knight Rider, not trademarked. I,
I,
I
I
know, right?
had to buy a kit to do that.
Yep,
Um,
pick me up.
so she well, roll for me. Actually, let's do a little.
Okay, let's see what color we get. This program, by the way, has a really cool thing where when it rolls your numbers, God, it doesn't like me tonight. It gives you different colors every time you do it. So it's kind of fun. Kind of a lime colored 32. Oh, see, that would have been better.
Why? Because it's higher. Good eye.
Well, see,
So
here's the thing, Kevin. I know it doesn't have any meaning necessarily, but lizard brain goes more better, right? It just automatically goes more better.
Generally speaking, it's true. Even in this world. So,
My brain is smooth, just in case anyone was wondering.
koala brain. So, um, she tilts her head and she steps in. Now, why would you be asking about that? What do you know?
Just a rumor. Haven't seen it or anything.
Aye, but
Heard stories.
aye. What is it now?
According to what I heard, some sort of big tentacly thing.
I don't know. I expected kind of a little more role play delivery, but that was pretty funny. Um,
But very dangerous apparently and hungry.
Now, some of the bigwigs here, I heard that in the halls last week, that word. Whispering they were. Now, why would that be? How big is this thing?
Once again,
You should
not
just
seen it.
unzip. Unzip right now.
Release. Never
That's
mind.
right.
Not even going to finish the sentence. Um,
The smacking.
the way I heard it, bigger than anything we can imagine.
And again, not unzipping. Unbelievable. Roll again for me.
It's going to hit you with a 74. That's that's a terrible number. 74. Oh wait, you're 73. 74, 73. Never mind. When did Tolkien die? Was it 73, 74? It was
No,
one of those years.
he died 73. He died the same year I was born.
Okay.
Um,
Apostrophe R-E. You are dreaming. Oh, man. I did it to chat. That's terrible. That is terrible.
mad. And losing a subscriber. What's going on there? Um, she is terrified. Her face goes white. Um,
Oh, but it's not here. I've not heard of it here.
those priests were worried, love. They were worried. If it's not here, if it's not near, they know something. But I can tell you now, there's no books on it here. But there were several volumes taken out of here last week. Whole sections, in fact.
Did you see the priest that I walked in with?
No love.
Well, let me ask you about something different while I wait for him to return. And then I guess I'll try to describe the Wisebriar to her. Um, and what was the actually I had a name. Let me see if it's in this note here. I don't know if it's in my physical notes.
Hot dog, Jack is on. Hey, Jack.
Oh, wait a minute. Shrink that down real quick. Wait, which one's Jack?
I'll text you. He wants to keep it on the down low.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us. By the way, it's really sweet of you to all come on and support us and keep a lively, goofy chat going. I do feel loved, I have to say.
Okay. Yes, very, very kind of everyone. Um,
Although, if Charlie is still watching, I would like to say to Charlie that she is by and large the shrimp boss. And if everyone could just take a moment right now and type "Charlie is a shrimp boss" into the text,
oh man,
EY,
I'm going to leave that screen up so she can see it if that happens.
LEY, and everyone just type "Charlie is the shrimp boss." That would be fantastic. It would make an 8-year-old so happy. Um, and since Make a Wish is not returning her calls,
Okay,
yes,
I've got
yes,
you, Kev.
that's
I found my
correct,
note.
Kelly. But it is EY. That's right, Kelly. But it's EY.
Okay, so this is back March 13th. Okay, so
Okay.
a week or so ago. I'm meeting with the band and Axabron, who is an individual I brought back from the other plane Kevin was telling you guys about earlier, Collar Vein. Um, and the conversation that Axabron and the band were having about the band possibly figuring out a way to travel to Kyler Vane and hide out from the Glass Minister. Um, and so they're talking about their options and discussing some magic items and some creatures. Um, at any rate, I have Axabron tell the band about the Wisebriar. And another member of the band named Rashal says that that description reminded her of a similar creature she found mentioned in an Abathonian text, the Abathonians being the Northmen, um, many years before, called the Thorned Master. And then other named sources of vast knowledge from Karandrian legend include the Pearl Tower, which, let's see, at the top of which resides some sort of being with sort of a liquid mirror skin. Um, a giant turtle named Hegturo, somewhere in the Orc nation of Gardic, in a hidden valley. Um, so it sounds like Thorned Master and uh, Wisebriar.
Are the two names that it's known by.
Yeah, let's try those. Oh, Charlie's gonna love that.
Both of those names do sound familiar, love. But I'm afraid that was in the section of strange creatures that the priest took out of here last week. That
Mm.
whole section is empty now. Now, you might find things in the journals of various travelers and whatnot. There's a number of those here, but the odds of finding any single reference to any single creature, being, or place, I can't tell you they're good.
Um, well, I appreciate that very much. I was hoping to work out an arrangement to use your facilities over time. What sort of information I'm most likely to find here?
I can't think of a topic you wouldn't have luck with. There's a good deal on curses. There's a good deal on history, herbs. Some on various unholy beings. That's kept in a separate section, you understand.
Hmm.
So that section they didn't touch. It's still in place.
How about anything to the about the that grouping of islands off the coast. They had a name, right? Because it was
The Three
part of
Shields.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. How about anything about the shields? What did you say the first word was there?
Three.
Three. Thank you. My mind blanked it out. Oh, what did I see the other day? It was a Picard joke about the four lights, five lights. Um, dang it. I'll have to go find that. Anyway, sorry, that reminded me of that.
No, it's
Um, anything about the three shields?
well, there is a good deal of lore here about enchanted items.
Hmm. Well, yeah, maybe let's see something about that if it's not too much trouble. And I will hand her. Oh, and Kevin has a cool little thing about when you're, I won't say bribing, but greasing palms for various things. That copper is for kids. Bronze is
For buying,
buying. There we go. And silver is for.
bribing.
See, that didn't work out as well.
I know
B.
that. I can't help it. Silver is for
Surcharges.
a sex line.
Silver is for.
Um,
Okay, yeah, hand her a silver. And I have updated my.
aren't you a doll? I'll be by your side the whole night. And she pats your arm. She goes this way. And she takes you. Um, so, yeah. So I don't know what you're looking for, but there is. I mean, there's shelves. They're stacked. They're in rows. They're piled. They've seen some moderate use. Some volumes have clearly seen some love. Some volumes have sat for quite a while. Um,
Right.
they're of the volumes you can read, because of course they're just from a wide range of languages and so on. There's stuff on potions. There's stuff on scrolls. There's stuff on runes. There's stuff on enchanted items of the world. There's even some text on creating them.
That piqued the interest a bit. Let's just take a peek in that category. Over there.
We're just gonna take a gander, everybody.
Just let me just dabble in.
Let me just take a look. I'm just gonna take a look right here.
Let me just dabble in these luscious snacks.
He's luscious lore. Oh, I like that. That's pretty good. Um, keep adjusting. I keep bumping my camera.
You fellas don't take the food and dip it in the water like this. Just dip your paw in. That's good. Well, I'm gonna tip on out. Praise God, y'all.
Praise God, y'all. Um, so the volume is what I like to call difficult to lift. It is enormous. I just rolled two double-ended. So on a scale of 1 to 100, gang, that means I rolled a 230. Um, so,
Oh, let me catch a note up real quick. Sorry.
yeah,
Sometimes I get caught up playing and I forget to.
make notes about what's going on in the world.
Yes, and that will bite you later when you want to figure out what went on in the world.
Right. So it is. It's written in Peninsular Dwarven. So, so one of your legible, um, one of your languages you can read. Uh, oh, that's so funny. Jenny, Jenny showed the chat to the shrimp boss, and she said Charlie dramatically rolled her eyes when I showed this to her.
That's fantastic.
Well, Charlie, we all love you. Everybody on the stream loves you. Um, um, oh, that's right. You were also gonna. Were you gonna read up? I mean, you're also in the right section to read up more on the powerful necklace that the
Yes.
right
Yes.
necklace of the black servants.
Yeah. The Bane of Tempera was the specific necklace, and the necklaces of the Black Servants was the sort of category that they were in.
Right. So in oh,
Uh,
Pooch Hugger is sitting in the corner nervously. I don't know if that's. I don't know why. The necklace looks like someone's asking. Hang on a minute. Let me find it. Shoot, I can't find. Oh, it's three. It's three. It's a silver chain, a heavy silver chain. Three black onyx, I should say, medallions. They each depict a bird of prey, a raptor of some sort. One flying, one diving, and then one with a prey in its claws. A rabbit, I think, specifically. And each of those symbols corresponds to a different ability of the necklace. This was the item that an old man wanted Josh Ganri to retrieve from another temple, another local temple just outside of town. Um, and we learned that the temple confiscated it from him. I can't remember if it was from him or from a friend,
it was from his associate. Yeah.
from his associate, and they confiscated it because that necklace is believed to be inherently evil and destructive, meaning that even the possession of it will corrupt you, sort of along the vein of the One Ring and Tolkien and things like this. Um, everyone is feeling compassion for the bunny in the chat. And let me remind you that not only is that not a real bunny on a not a real necklace in not a real world, but you're not really thinking. Let me remind you of all those facts, and we will press on. Um, so the so one item, the flight would allow you to teleport. I think it was teleport to any area of shadow um, that you could sense. If the other one would I forget what the other ones did.
Oh, I've got it in my notes. Hold on one second.
No, but you're taking notes, right?
Yeah, but I'm almost caught up there. So the necklace. Let's see. Okay. Um, the first disc of the Bane of Tempera allows the wearer to teleport great distances to any area of shadow. The second creates magical black wings for the wearer of the necklace, and also increase the wearer's speed and power. And the third summons three demons that attack a target of the wearer's choice.
There you go.
Yeah. Um, okay.
Um, so so anyway, so Josh was curious about that and was going to have Ganri look at it.
Hopefully, my typing is not too loud. Sorry, everyone. I have caveman fingers.
That's right.
Gosh.
All right, if you want to take a few more notes, we could take a break and let everyone go pee. What do you think, Josh?
believe that'll work. Also, a good test.
Okay, so
See.
we're gonna take a quick break. Josh is gonna type a few notes, and then we'll be right back. So you'll see us disappear, and a magical new screen appear, and then we'll be right back.
Oh wait, the one thing I do have to do when I do that though is this. Boop.
We're just waiting for Josh to. Oh,
And we're back.
and we're back. Thank you, everybody, for waiting. I hope you joined us again. And we appreciate the time to run and take care of essentials, and we'll just leave it at that. Um, all right. So, roll for me, Josh.
Survey says 22.
Um, the text is a mess. This text that you are reading um, on the crafting of magic items, it's clearly crazy old. Um, um, the As you just sort of flip through, there is not a single item that you recognize. Um,
You said it was written in Peninsular Dwarven?
yes,
Okay.
we're all surprised that Josh can read, and that by extension his characters can read. So good observation, Kelly. 5 points.
That's actually, I can't read, but just like in most video games, like if you're playing a superhero that can fly, you can't fly. Same thing. I can only read when I'm playing Ganri. Really weird.
That's right. And you can't recognize Ganri as Josh because of the glasses. Um, so, um, um,
And there's no phone booths back in the time of Karandrin, so mostly I have to go in confessionals to change.
or
Um,
urinals, whatever.
yeah.
Um, so you come across a number of different items. This is clearly the cobbled together notes of some powerful alchemist or wizard, and these are been loosely organized around one item's creation. It has things struck through. It has and the handwriting varies, which suggests either multiple scribes handled it. Um, Actually, that's where you're leaning, is because the layout is always the same. There's a standardization to the page. So they actually took this guy's working notes and duplicated even the failures. So where it might call for an ingredient to be used, say, as part of the enchantment of the item, multiple of those, or that writer. I like hot drunk though, Pooch Hugger. I do. I like hot drunk. I think that's funny. Like I last night, guys, I was hot drunk. Um, but so you would see, like, for instance, a troll tusk might have been used in one attempt, and then it's crossed out, and then troll skin was used, and that was crossed out, and then troll bone apparently was successful.
Gotcha.
And so it was felt that it was important to um, keep the errors so that people didn't duplicate the effort, if that makes sense to you.
Gotcha. 1 second. Can I tell as I get further along, looking at the the cross outs and the okay, this didn't work, this did work, what type of item this
Yes,
particular alchemist might have been trying to create?
yes, and there are dozens of items in here, like I said, but there's none of which you recognize, and you've had some experience now looking at enchanted items, shopping for them, and that sort of thing, discussing them, discovering them, and yet none of these sound familiar, which is one of the reasons it suggests to you this text is very old. Um, uh, So I just sent you the title of the work, which is Dornall the Master's Working Notes. I figured you would appreciate cutting and pasting that instead of having to type with your fingers. Your poor.
Uh, much my neuropathy thanks you, sir. So,
Um, so I'll give you a smattering of what some of the items do, and so all of them are just named after him. Um, um, so there is one that is what?
I'm remembering that scene from Austin Powers when he's going through security and they find the penis enhancer, the
Oh my
penis pump,
God, so
and
great!
he's going through all the items, and then how he has the guide and the the promotional thing Austin Powers had done for I'm sorry because Dornall had his name on all the items, right? I'm just thinking of
Oh, that's hilarious, right?
okay. So, what kind of sex toys was Dornall making here?
Yes. Well, disturbingly, one of them is Dornall's hammer. I'm gonna type it out to you, so you
Yeah.
can just. Quinn for the win says other signs the writer was older. Coffee rings on the parchment and a section about what creatures he's chased off his lawn.
Fantastic. uh, I'll drink coffee to those coffee rings.
There you go.
Mm.
Um, and we should add to Quinn for the Win's comment that also there's a lot of complaint about how so many of the wizards, the younger wizards, are wearing their pants way too low, and their loud music. Um,
Hmm. Also, there was some mention of all lives mattering in his forward,
oh my
I,
God!
and some other conservative talking points.
But how they really don't matter.
Yeah, something about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and increased military spending. I think was in there. Okay. What is defund the barbarians? That doesn't seem very.
So another one is Dornall's trident. I've sent it to you, so you can just cut and paste it if you want it in your notes. It
Perfect.
fires the prongs of the trident, and then they magically regrow. Um,
Okay. Yes, this is the way. All players take note. Have your game master take your notes for you. Much easier.
and a third one, and we can answer specific questions as you need them answered, of course. But also Dornall's bag of the Inferno. It actually you open the bag. It has no function as storage. You open the bag and out comes a column of fire the size of the bag's mouth, which is probably not dissimilar to how you murdered all those people in Galandos. But
Well, let's roll up a new character. Ganri's managed to kill himself with a paper cut. That's
to, from depression and guilt, depression
that's
and
it.
guilt. Um, there's even there's some notes in there about why he's pursuing. I say he. That's rather chauvinistic. There is indications of gender in the text. She. Why she was making a particular item. Sometimes the item is merely a stepping stone to answer a magical question of hers. Other times it is at the request of a powerful lord, and so on.
Yeah. Hey, instead of adding an S to the beginning of he, I just added a slash she. Is it that okay for Dornall? He,
I think in
he, she.
it's a gender fluid world, and
Okay.
I don't think I don't think there's any reason to, if she comes to feel a new identity would better serve her happiness, then why not?
Also adding slash it slash they. Okay,
That's it.
I think we're covered.
And welcome to the first reason that we get banned. So,
That's what I was. Any moment. Any moment. Here it comes.
all right, so there's the other one for you.
Oh,
Um,
let me go back over. Oh, nothing like a sack of hot nuts.
that's fortunately, my wife had to stop eating boiled peanuts, which I despise and loathe the smell of. And but due to her dietary restrictions, she had to stop eating it. And
Pardon me, sir. I need to see your Southern identity card, please.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry. Did you just besmirch or disparage boiled peanuts in
I
any way?
did. So I also hate the taste of sweet tea.
Hey,
Um,
grits are on the phone. Apparently, they don't want anything to do with you anymore.
that
That's
is unacceptable. And as I am their predator, I don't generally ask their consent anyway. So enough of that. Um, so there's no indication of her race, but there is references to individuals who apparently have some power, um, some titles included. So that is to say, titles of nobility, aristocracy. And so, should you wish to track down this person's history, you would just simply have to find out where these leaders were, right? And
yeah.
then you should be able to get a sense of at least who was interacting with her. Um, say, oh, weird. We had a dropped connection on Josh's part.
Really?
My lord,
Oh, wait. I see it now.
Friday cannot come soon enough.
0 of 10. Hmm.
That is no good. There's nothing. Oh my lord, someone is threatening to deprive me of delicious Coca-Cola. All right, well, it's such a jumble of confusing things. I mean, I will tell you that you get a sense the Magic Item creation is a great deal of trial and error. It's very time consuming, it's
Mm-hmm.
very costly, and um, that material select ingredient selection apparently is extremely important. So those are some of the points you take away from it. Costly, time consuming, and selection of ingredients is difficult and vitally important. And there's a passage you read where she tries, for instance, some ingredient, the same ingredient, but just different freshnesses of it, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
Trying to determine, okay, this one's a thicker, maybe it's some rare thorn or something, right? And she's tried ones that are, this one's has is greener. It's a younger thorn. This one's an older one. This one was picked very recently. This one I've had around for weeks, and it seems to matter a tremendous amount. Um, and so, given the just sort of the complexity of it and sort of the jumbledness of the organization, that it's not very straightforward. You kind of get overwhelmed, and so you're at this for a while, and you didn't realize that um, Breziard has been, standing patiently beside you,
Oh, gosh.
and he sets a token down, and he says that he has secured you admission for a year.
Wow. Hold on one second. Let me just catch that note up there. Ah,
I have received news, by the way, to all our audience that Quinn for the Win is in the hospital and feeling kind of lonely. So, everyone, let's take a moment and send Quinn for the Win uh, wishes to get better, shall we? I won't do it because I actually don't like him. So,
okay. Okay. So I just purchased him a subscription or membership, I guess, more than a subscription to the NRA. Will that help him feel better?
yes, yes,
Okay.
that's right. The National Reading Association.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
I thought it
I
was.
like
I thought it was Reaming Association. Is that
That's
not?
behind the temple. That's dumpsters behind Denny's.
Oh, that was the place I changed uniforms to the phone booth.
Yes,
Okay.
yes it is. So
Um, very good. Okay.
um,
Uh, so to Breziard then.
yes.
My, my thanks. Uh, your facility is most impressive.
Well, and it is possible that you know your that further service, shall we say, to the temple could grant you even greater access.
On,
Um,
on that note, your acolyte mentioned that several works were recently removed from the library. Um,
I
are you
I have heard something about that. Yes, roll for me.
77? Not 77.
Oh, he definitely knows something.
Carefully, and try my best to let it be obvious that I'm trying to be careful.
Yes. What do you know? What do you know? Tell us now. Like that?
Yeah. If I were to know something about a certain creature, would that be of interest?
Roll again for me.
11.
That's okay. He rolled lower than that. He rolled a negative 32. He sits down. I'm not sure I should even know. I've only heard the name.
From what I heard, and once again, I don't want to involve myself or you or anyone in anything unless absolutely necessary. But and say this even lower than I'm talking, Dromivore,
Okay.
is incredibly dangerous. And if there were any chance,
Really isn't the word destructive?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
apocalyptic. I mean, yes. I mean, world ending. It's hard to put in accurate terms, at least from what was presented to me, how dangerous this thing actually is.
Right.
Um, and once again, if this is information that does not need to be shared, then we didn't have this conversation.
He leans back in the chair and he just rubs his beard. And he's just, I mean, I should go take a look at his personality and see what he's willing to risk here. Where's his, look at his goals here. Yeah, seems to be his number one goal there.
Yeah, Kelly, Esperanto. Um, I was inspired by the work of the Polish oculist who dreamed of world peace through one unified language.
Are you, Esperanto? Isn't that a coffee?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
I have an Esperanto machine.
It's
It's okay.
hilarious. That foaming action is great.
Yeah, that thing keeps getting clogged though, so the steam doesn't come out like it should. And
Yeah, you probably should stop doing that. Um, Sorry, I was inviting someone else to join our stream. Um, so
ooh, I want max hit points. I assume that's a
Max
type of
hit
hit
points
point,
only has like three.
like a descriptor of hit points, right? Max hit points.
Yeah, exactly. So he says, "Oh my lord, I'm such an idiot. I've done the complete wrong thing here."
Or was it?
It was absolutely the wrong thing. I'm so stupid.
New stream, who dis?
New stream, who dis? White nonsense is going on here.
Only the widest of nonsense, I assure you, sir.
Hey Quinn, we tested the new speech to text function of Word as a means of taking notes and role playing, and it kind of worked. It kind of worked.
In hilarious fashion.
Um, it almost gave us a pretty decent transcript.
Or a racist manifesto. Your pick.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad. It just it did have its moments.
He said, I simply don't know how to proceed. Um, there's no safe way for me to let the powers that be know that I know. There's simply no good way for me to say, I overheard this, I overheard that.
And then
The only, I think the safest option would be if you let someone know that you simply wanted to speak to someone about this creature.
and in your experience of the people that I may be directed to speak to, who would be the least likely to interfere with my freedom?
I don't think your freedom is at stake. It's just that my position would be compromised if I brought it to their attention.
Well, I in no way desire to do that. You've proven yourself to be. He is dwarf, right?
Yes, he's dwarven.
Yeah.
Older, dwarven.
You've proven yourself to be an honorable dwarf. I wish you no ill. I can't seem to stop myself from getting in these positions, but I feel like I probably should let someone know. Just the danger here seems to outweigh any fallout from giving this information.
Well, then my suggestion would be to simply go to a guard and tell them that you would like to speak um, um, to Gabrus about a creature you have heard of called the Dromivore. Gabrus is high enough that surely he has been included in these conversations.
Okay. It's hilarious. I add words to the word dictionary because it doesn't recognize any of the proper nouns, obviously.
Yeah,
But you come up with so much material. It's it's like writing a dictionary every time I take notes in Word.
I imagine.
Yeah,
I imagine.
it's fantastic. Um,
Rum pum pum pum. Quinn mentioned the drummer boy. I don't know why he mentioned it. I've not been fully paying attention to the chat. Um, so, guys, my for our audience, I have a way of evaluating Josh's signal strength. His signal strength has been low for quite a while now. Has he been laggy? Can I get some responses from our audience?
hey, what was the name when I go to find the guard? Who am I asking for?
Gabrus, Gabbris.
And did he mention Gabrus, dwarven, male, female, anything like that?
Male definitely was the reference. No
Okay.
race.
Okay. All right. Okay. Um, okay. Well, thank you, Breziard. Appreciate your help, your counsel, your discretion,
Which do you appreciate more? Yeah, it's just
and the beverages. Those never go wrong by me.
Well, perhaps we can do it. I hope I can be of greater assistance to you in the future. That the temple turns its back on obvious evils is should be no source of pride for any dwarf.
Well, I would like to think that if I can be of service in that way, finding evils, righting wrongs, that I would be, that I will be. So if there's anything you need, locally, I often stay at a place called the Three Torches. You can get word to me through there, um, or apparently now through Lady Balabri or Lady Pharonix.
I
Thank you once again.
and you did you find everything you needed in the library?
More than I could have hoped for. This is inspiring.
Well, and we have volumes coming in and out. You will never be able to take a volume out of the library unless very special dispensation is made. But you're welcome to stay here as long as you like. It's open all hours.
I will wait some time to ask for a guard, but I, I think I may do that today.
I understand. It shouldn't pose any threat to me. You could probably even do it immediately out in the courtyard.
Ah, forgot about my driver. I suppose I should check on him at some point.
Oh, that's right. You hired a driver for the day. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He's made his profit for the day. He doesn't care.
Oh, that's true. That's true. But I don't know. I just personally feel like maybe, just peeking in, like, hey, I'm sure he got his own lunch and everything, but still, just like, hey, been sitting out here for several hours now. How's it going? Just got the horse on idle. That's good.
Birds are just sitting on him.
Yeah. Okay. Um, all right. So, yeah. However, our customary dwarven gestures are for departure. And yep, oh, that's what we do. That is what we do. I like to crank. I like to do the crank on mine.
I do too. I love that one. Or the thing about reaching in your pocket. Oh, I got something here for you. Man,
Yeah.
I love that one. Oh, I want you to do that to Charlie. She will never see it coming, even though she's watching this stream. She's not that bright.
They actually may already be in transit. School day tomorrow for her, and
Sure.
Jenny has work early, so they
All
may
right.
already
Well,
be on their way back.
we've done a nice even 2 hours. You're headed down to the courtyard. We could wrap it up and say goodbye to everybody. Um, and then, if we want to do another session later today, you can totally make that call. I know you're trying to reset your sleep schedule and so on. So, what do you think? Do you want to tell our beloved folks goodbye, or what would you like to do?
Um, it's not actually a bad idea. The old biblioteca. Sorry, I saw the chat there. Yeah, no, that seems like a good length. And I know that you and I may keep a somewhat sporadic schedule on streaming. I guess we'll aim to
Right,
have some more consistency, but
right.
as hopefully everyone who's watching has observed, um, uh, the gaming here feels very personal, right? You don't interact with numbers; you interact with the world, and there's a ton of conversation. Um, but that's not to say that there's not also a ton of action and a ton of. I will say one of the things Kevin does best is put you in situations, even seemingly sort of mundane situations, in which you end up with these forks quite often of sometimes equally terrible decisions, but often just
That's
it's
that's taken directly from my life.
well, I was going to say it feels like life, right? Where it's like, okay, all we have to do is a seemingly simple thing, and we'll be on our way, and then 13 things go wrong, and you're like, you know, so it does feel very lifelike often in that way, but it feels real. Like you can't just go, hey, everybody, there's a terrible world devouring tentacle beast that may be consuming entire realms of existence and magical trap like people, you can get shot in the courtyard. I mean, it's just not the kind of thing you can go around willy nilly tossing out. So,
That's right.
um,
That's
and it's
right.
tough to know who to trust, right? I mean, not just as a dwarf, I mean, even just as a player, because you're like, oh, everybody has their own desires, their own
Yeah.
machinations, their own motivations, and so it helps to be able to read people. And if you get that wrong, which my character has several times, read people wrong.
Right.
And, oftentimes that's worked out okay, but there are situations where that can get you killed. So
Right.
anyway, it's fun. Of course, Kevin, fantastic game master, and he's designed um, a really interesting world to play in. So um, appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Thank you,
Kevin for the hard
everybody.
work he's done. So,
Um, it's very heartening to see our loved ones come out to support us, and spread the word if you think they'd be interested in this. Honestly, even if they're not, we've got a donations page up, and we're going to hope to, as our viewership expands, and so on. We hope that will be a source of income to help us keep streaming, get better equipment, and that sort of thing. Um, we are going to try to stream for Josh every Tuesday afternoon, but it'll be recorded on Twitch and on YouTube. Um, Brees, which is our buddy Max, who you see here in the chat, he will be streaming tomorrow night. That will be his character's inaugural stream. Um, and and So that'll be Wednesday. It'll be 8 p.m. Eastern, and we'll go for 2 to 3 hours, sort of like we're doing now. Um, and But we're trying to do it very regularly. Um, Josh and I, because we both have health problems, our schedules are the most difficult to match up, whereas Max and I do better because he's so reliable, and it's just my problems that we have to deal with. But dealing with both my health problems and Josh's health problems has been a nightmare. But you'll still be able to see us, maybe less interactively. Um, but there is a possibility that we may move to Tuesday evenings for me and Josh, and then you'll be able to have fun with us and poke fun at us, and hopefully also enjoy the story and not just call each other names. But all the other stuff that needs to be said here, I'll say, hey, do you want to subscribe? Do you want to like? Do you want to donate? We're just going to say that at the end of everything, and we appreciate you just hanging out. Um, and Yes, Max is a healthy lad. He says he's a healthy lad. He is. Uh, Stick
Last.
thin, as you will see tomorrow night. Just a rail. Just a
Did you say
just
thick with two C's? I'm sorry.
Just as the yeah, as you'll see, he's a rail thin, but he's a rail nice guy. Um, so um, so and It was great to hear from Quinn. I'm sure Quinn and I will be in touch, and so on. And we we certainly there's a wow. Oh, I can see your mouse. I saw your mouse move across the screen. You should call in a pest control guy.
Wait, who are you talking about?
What? I saw your mouse move across your screen there, buddy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, because I went over to those PowerPoint slides. I was getting ready to tab down to that one
Do
we're
it.
supposed to be at. Okay. All
Do
right.
it. Because we're going to try to end. This is our little goodbye screen. That's not. Oh, there you go. And so you see the little donation thing right there. Thank you again to everybody. We really appreciate it, and we hope we see you uh, next time. And Thanks. It was a lot of fun. Josh, nothing, nothing. No goodbye to the loved ones.
I thought we were doing me then you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Sorry,
Yes.
please.
Goodbye, everyone.
Jesus Christ, what an asshole. All right, thank you, everyone. And Like we said, tomorrow night for Brees, and hopefully Tuesdays will be Josh and I, and we may have yet more players. So thank you again. We'll see you all next time.